I'll tell you one thing though, that as far as gratitude and appreciation goes, that I do appreciate and I'm so grateful for every day. There's a couple of things, right? The grand scheme of things, I missed the mark, but there's a couple of things. One is my children.
Yeah.
I have three of them, my babies. Um,
Blessed.
and
Yeah.
absolutely. And another one is my brotherhood, like my
Mhm.
my my close group of confidants. My bro Vaughn, my brother-in-law, my cousin Cadmiel out in New York, my bro David. I have a very close group of confidants that keep me grounded, and every day I am grateful for them. I'm grateful for my children. I'm grateful for my brother, my mom, my sister. So family,
Right.
I'm grateful and I appreciate my family
Yeah.
unequivocally 24/7, even while I'm asleep.
Well,
But other
I'm
things
glad
I
you
can
got
miss the
family
mark
like
on.
that. I'm
Yeah,
glad you got family like that still, bro. That's great. Yeah,
appreciate
appreciate
it
that.
for
Yes,
sure.
sir. So, man, how about we take a jump back, man? You say you were 35 years old. This was your first felony offense?
this
Is
was
that
my
right or
first.
no?
This was my first offense. Period.
Offense ever in your life?
I never had a
35.
misdemeanor. 35. Yeah.
Wow. So that's abnormal. It's not usual. That's not, and that probably inclines me at least to believe that, yeah, that was a fluke. That was something like a fluke. That late in
Yeah.
life, that's not a habit. But
No, definitely
yeah.
not. Definitely
So
not a habit.
so if you want to, man, 35 years old. What made you just decide to rob a jewelry store one day, bro? How'd that come about?
Well, um, I have to I have to back up, right? Because I asked myself that same question, and it took some deep introspection, really looking inside myself and addressing
Mhm.
certain situations that I hadn't addressed before. Um, but the short end of it is this. I grew up as a child in a very dangerous neighborhood in Los Angeles, California, Crenshaw district, and I witnessed my first murder at 7 years old. I
Dang.
7 years old. I was sitting
Yeah.
on my porch on Pickford Street between Crenshaw and Washington, uh, off of Crenshaw and Washington, between Crenshaw and La
Mhm.
Brea. There's this street called Pickford Street. It's the same street where, if you've seen that movie, I mean the music video, Ice Cube, "Today Was a Good Day." When
Mhm.
he first hits the switches in that lowrider, that was on our block, right? Um, so I'm sitting on my porch, and we grew. I'm not going to name the neighborhood or the gang that was it, but it was a Crip neighborhood, and usual car that I see all the time, loaded down with that neighborhood gang. They stop. They pull up and they stop right in front of our quadruplex, four houses, four apartments in one, our
Yeah.
quadruplex. And they stop. I mean, they skid to a stop. And there's a car that skids to a stop about maybe 40 yards behind them. Guy gets out, he starts shooting at that car with a pistol. That car, they had some automatics or semi-automatics, something. They had rifles. One of the guys get hit. His buddies leave him. He's on the ground. His buddies leave him. This car drives up. Long barrel rifle comes out. And when I say his face exploded. It was like watching a watermelon drop and
Yeah, and you were
explode.
7 years old,
And
bro.
I was 7 years old when I witnessed
Mm.
that, right? Now,
Yeah.
these are thoughts that I hadn't thought about in decades, right? But in introspecting and asking myself, why would you rob a jewelry store? What possessed you to go in there with a firearm, discharge the firearm, and leave that jewelry store with jewels and loot? Why would you do that? Well, I had to go back to that time at 7. Then I had to go back to the time when my brother's best friend got shot 17 times and died before he hit the ground. I had to I had to pull files from my memory bank about countless numbers of robberies, armed robberies, men being held up at gunpoint and having their goods taken from them. Um, you know, my brother having things stolen from him, and even at I think around 12 years old, watching a man point a gun to my father's face, wondering, is he gonna end up like that guy whose face exploded?
Hmm.
Right. So my dad, that was the breaking point for him. He he packed us up. He moved us 40 miles, 45 miles east of Los Angeles. And this is in 1994, 1995, to a city called Rancho Cucamonga. Now, a lot of people say Rancho Cucamonga, that's a real city. Yeah, well, because the movie Friday or Next Friday was filmed in, well, it was really filmed in Duarte. This is a fun fact for everybody. It wasn't filmed in Rancho Cucamonga. It was filmed in a city called Duarte, but it was supposed to be Rancho Cucamonga. And it was a similar city. I mean, it's nice neighborhood, nice house. I remember the first night there. It was the first time I ever heard crickets. Literally, the sound of gunshots was replaced with crickets. We went to sleep, and my brother and my sisters can attest to this. We went to sleep every night after we heard gunshots because we knew that the police will likely be in the neighborhood and it'd be a little bit safer and we can go to sleep, right? In
Yeah,
Los
actually,
Angeles.
that's logical. Yeah,
Kids, thinking about
it's a
this type of
hard
stuff
logic. It's
is
a
a
hard
very hard
logic,
logic.
but it's logic. Yeah.
Absolutely. So moving to Rancho Cucamonga, I'm thankful for my father. He even prior to moving up to Rancho, he was like the father of the neighborhood. He was the only black father, for one, in the neighborhood. Period. There were no other black fathers in the neighborhood. There was a Hispanic father there, and then that's pretty much about it. So I thank him, rest in peace, for transplanting us and moving us to a safer area. But I hear the term, and oh, you can take the boy out the hood, but you can't take the hood out the boy.
Yeah, I've heard it.
And it was that was true for me. At the age of 15, 16, me and a few buddies started a rap group. Um, One of my buddies still in Los Angeles from the neighborhood that I, came from. Go out there, visit him, and a few buddies from a city called Fontana and one from Rancho with me. We started a rap group, and that rap group ended up becoming a gang. So even though I was in a better neighborhood,
Yeah.
every chance that I get, I'm trying to go back to Los Angeles. I'm in Riverside, California, Fontana, San Bernardino, and we are, some young
Yeah.
terrors, right? So when my daughter, my oldest daughter was born,
Hmm.
I believe I was 21, that's when I said, you know what? I'm leaving all of that alone. I'm gonna go ahead and push that to the side. Hey, fellas, catch y'all later.
Say that's a life-changing moment, man. First child, brand new
First child,
fatherhood, change the way you see everything. Yeah.
absolutely. So from that age of 7 to 21, that was kind of my story, right? Now I'm a father. Now I'm a working man. First job that I got was as a janitor in a hospital, San Antonio Hospital in Ontario, California. Me and I get married. I marry the mother of my daughter. In fact, we got married before we had our child. Moved into an apartment in Rialto, California, and we are doing the responsible thing. We're both working. We're both paying taxes. We are productive citizens, right?
Mhm.
And that had been my life from 21 until 35. So
Okay.
you would think, okay, well, damn, you've lived longer,
14
for
years. Yeah.
right? You know what I'm saying? So why still it doesn't equate to, but it does, and the trigger though, there was a trigger there, and that trigger was I ended up, and I'm very careful with this because I don't want to say anything bad about anyone else, right? Um,
Right.
but two failed relationships, um, and some things that happened within the church that moved me to start looking into other religions, and
Okay.
I ended up becoming a Hebrew Israelite. I ended up actually believing that I was a Jew. And
Okay.
as ridiculous as that is, now that I know, but I, this particular religion, man, and I can't say it's the religion in and of itself because there's people in the religion that didn't do what I did, right? But because of my past and because of the issues that I never dealt with, that was in my subconscious mind, just pushed back, swept under the rug, right? It influenced certain things. So I looked at things a little bit different. I ended up believing, okay, well, hey, this is the new Exodus. We're supposed to be, we're prophets. We're supposed to be getting the children of Israel out of Egypt, which is America, and all of this stuff, right? And there was a particular passage that I read in the Bible to answer your question, what possessed me to rob a jewelry store at 35 years old? I read this passage in Exodus where it talked about the particular situation was Moses had just performed, I believe, his last miracle, and he was leading the children of Israel out of Egypt,
Mhm.
and they procured, for lack of better terms, they procured the jewels and the fine things from the Egyptians, and
Mhm.
then they left.
Yeah.
So I took that ideology and that mindset and believing that,
Uh, okay. Thought it gave you license.
I thought it gave me license. In fact, even more than license, I thought it was a command.
Okay.
So
Whew. Okay.
extremism is very dangerous. Um,
Yeah,
certain religious
absolutely.
ideologies,
Yeah, the word
very dangerous.
zealotry had come to mind. When
Yes,
zealotry gone wrong.
yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's what led me. And so you're right.
Wow,
This was a
that's
this.
quite a path. Yeah, that's quite a path to come to that through those stages. Man, it just. But again, it shows you, man, it happens to so many different types of people in life. Yeah, the majority are young, but is that all of them? No. The man was 35 years old and led a fairly exemplary lifestyle all the way up until then. And bam,
Oh,
because
right
of
there.
circumstances that had been piling up over the course of his entire life, bam, there was a tipping point.
That
You
was the
know,
tipping point.
nobody's
That's
immune.
exactly.
Nobody's immune.
No one
Yeah,
is.
it can happen to
You-
anybody.
You're
That's
one
why
action away. You
people
are
that
one
judge
wrong
too
action.
much and look down their nose and chalk people up and no, write them off. That it can happen to anybody. You would change your entire world song and tune if it happened to your son, your daughter, your mother, your father, something like that. It would, so that's why I ain't never really bought into any kind of haters like that. I don't care about their judgment.
Yeah.